Hi Tom, in this video I'm going to go over the exercises for you to work on this week. We're trying to get our routine down to about 20 to 25 minutes that you can do 3 times a week. As we talked about, if anything is uncomfortable, you're going to stop, message me, we'll find a modification. So we're going to go ahead, if you're not already warm, just mobilize the joints a little bit, get a little bit warm, and we're actually going to start by mobilizing the feet and lower legs. So standing hips width apart, hands on the hips, we're going to do 12 heel raises. So we'll come onto the balls of the feet, lift the heels, and lower. As you do that, you're thinking about spreading the weight from the big toe ball mount to the pinky toe ball mount. So if you feel unstable at all, you can think about hugging the inner thighs towards the midline. So I'm not going to show you all the reps of each of them. You can pause the video as we go. Next, we're going to work on dorsiflexion, which we talked about might help your squat depth. So this was the one that we did with a rolled up or folded towel. So we're going to place that rolled up towel just as a foot lift under the ball of the back foot. And then I'm going to step forward into like a short staggered lunge. From here, I'm going to bend both knees until I feel a nice stretch in the back of my back thigh, calf here. Okay, and then I'll hold for 5 seconds and straighten. And I'll do that 5 more times. I'm going to come down until I feel that nice stretch and straighten. So noticing that we're bending both legs here, just until you feel that nice stretching sensation on the back of the calf and up. Obviously, you'll do both sides. Okay, next, we're going to warm up the hips a little bit. So for this one, instead of holding onto a wall, maybe you'll grab that long roller that you have and you'll just use this as a balance support. We're going to come on one leg, stand up nice and tall, and then the other knee we're going to draw circles. And so what I want you to focus on as you draw those circles is that the body is going to stay quiet, okay? And we're really just working on articulation of the thigh and the hip joint. So rather than moving around the body, I want the body like a statue and the thigh is going to articulate in the hip joint. We're going to do 5 circles each direction. So just from a different perspective, I want you to notice that we're also finding hip extension here. So hip extension meaning that the thigh's coming back. We're going to open, come all the way around. So let the thigh come behind the hip, open, come around. So we'll do 5 circles each direction. Okay, after that, we're just going to go ahead and work on a few squats. So now again, we're only squatting within the range that feels good for your knee. You tend to like to stand in a little external rotation, and that's fine. So in our squats, we're thinking about knees are lined up over second and third toe. We're letting the butt come back like we're sitting into a chair with a nice hip hinge. So I'll show you from 2 angles, and let's do between 10 and 15 squats. So you're going to sit back, stand up. So noticing knees are over second and third toe and up. From that different direction, I really want you to think about butt back. So the chest comes forward. Good. So your inclination is to lift the head up, which makes you arc in the low back. So while we squat together, I want you to think about gazes in front of you, forward and up. So find that nice hip hinge and up. And you'll go ahead between 10 and 15 squats. Okay, next, we're going to work on the single leg RDL. This was the one that we used our roller to help us keep that nice closed hip. So remember, there's no such thing as cheating. So we get to hold on for balance. So you can place one hand on the wall beside you. You're going to flex your foot into the roller. So we've got a little pressure in between the foot and the hand and the roller here. And then I'm going to tip forward in like a capital letter T shape, but just like in that squat, I'm finding a little bit of a sit back, okay? So I'm going to sit back as if I'm sitting back into a chair and have a slight bend in that front leg, keeping my hips nice and closed. And I'm going to come up, stand up nice and tall. So chest is nice and open, back is flat, and come up and down. And you can do 8 on each side. Okay, next, we're going to work on our lunge with rotation and a balance, okay? And we're just going to do between 8 and 12 of these on each side. So you're just going to make sure you have room behind you here. We're going to stand up nice and tall. I want you to remember that we're on train tracks with the feet, meaning that we're at least hips width apart during all cycles of the lunge, all phases of the lunge. So when we start, when the foot is back, your inclination is a little bit to be on a tightrope. I want those feet hips width apart. That's going to help with stability. Your other inclination is to want to move quickly through this. I really want us to stick the form first before we add pace. So standing up nice and tall, you're gonna step 1 foot behind you. Okay, so this is the part you tend to want to have a straight back knee. I want you to see if you can find nice square hips, bend in the back knee, all right? And then we're gonna add that rotation. So as if you're holding a basketball in front of you, you're gonna rotate towards your front leg, towards the front leg. Unwind. So those hips are staying square, the rotation is coming from the rib cage area. We rotate. Now from here, we're gonna add that balance. So now we're gonna take knee to the chest. We stick our balance like our gymnastics, like stick it, and then we're gonna step back. Step back, nice and controlled. We rotate, unwind, come up, stick it, and we start over again. Okay, you're gonna do both sides. Remember, you can be by a wall, you can use the hand. I want you to think slow and methodical rather than fast, like working on form rather than speed here. Okay, next, we're gonna go over our, starting to do a little bit more balance work. We're gonna grab, by this time I think you probably have a band. So this band is a heavy, you can use a medium to heavy resistance band. And we're gonna start with the band around the arches of the feet. So standing up nice and tall, all we're gonna do is lift and lower one leg, okay? So we're gonna lift the knee and lower. I want you to think about those 2 frontal hip points are in the same plane. So the knee is lifting and lowering kind of by pulling in the, like, this region rather than hiking the hip. So rather than lifting up the leg by hiking the hip, I want hips nice and square, lift and lower. You'll lift and lower 8 to 10 times. Then we're doing a static hold. You're gonna lift that knee and then a countdown, count of 10, 9, count all the way up to the other side. We can go ahead and keep that band on, and now you're gonna sit on your bench or a chair, and we're gonna adjust the band. So the band is gonna be around one ankle, and then the arch of the other foot. So with the foot that has the band around the ankle, that's gonna be your fixed leg. We're gonna stand up nice and tall, and all we're gonna do is extend the leg that's banded around the arch of the foot. So we're gonna extend and bend. Extend and bend. Okay, so straighten and bend. If that heavier band is too much, like this is a little bit for me, go ahead and come down to those lighter bands. That's why you got the pack with 5 of them, okay? But we're sitting up nice and tall, extend and bend, and then we're gonna do the other side. You can do between 8 and 10. Shouldn't experience any knee pain. Okay, next, we're gonna move on to the side lunge. So last time, we didn't really have a band to use, but we're gonna do a slider side lunge, and I want you to work with the band first to help as we build that adduction or coming together strength. Okay, so this is the exercise that we did with one sock, okay? So go ahead, take off one sock unless you already have the slider, and then you can use your slider. So now that you have the band, we're actually gonna place the band on our foot to help with the coming in. So the band is gonna be around the arches of the feet. And now we're gonna do our side lunge, and we're gonna press away with our socked foot. So our fixed leg, our unsocked foot, is gonna be our bending leg. So we're gonna sit back and press away. And now the band is gonna help us come back in. And again, maybe using a lighter band, so medium to light band here. And now we're gonna press away and come back up. So you'll do that about 10 times, and then you're gonna switch sides. As that gets easier, we can come back to what we did together, okay? So remember when we did our slider lunge, when you were sliding with the left foot in when your right leg was fixed, it was a little bit shaky coming in. So we're using the band to help kind of create that pull in. Once we get more comfortable with that, we cannot use the band, so we'll make it harder for that adduction, harder for your stabilizing leg, and we can do the same thing without the band, okay? So we can come out. Now, it's all up to me to pull back in. So we're sitting back, butt sits back in that lunge, and we pull back in, okay. Okay, so for our last exercise for our knees, we're just gonna do a fixed wall squat. So as you remember, we're working on finding that depth in our wall squat that is a challenge, but that isn't aggravating the knee, okay? So finding that spot that feels like a good, strong challenge, but without irritation. So we're gonna walk our way forward. until you find that perfect kind of place for you. And we're gonna think about doing a 30-second hold, okay? So just a nice 30-second hold, hands can be on the hips, back is against the wall. And this is a great way to start to build muscular endurance in our squat, and slowly over time, we're gonna see if we can get a little bit more depth over time in our wall squat, which will hopefully translate over into the court. So once you've finished about 30 seconds, you can count that by breaths. So about 6 long breaths, and then you'll go ahead, you can use the wall to help come back up to take the stress off the knees. So you can go ahead, roll forward a little bit, press into the hands and come up. That's gonna take some of the stress off the knees as you come out. So if you have time, you'll go ahead and work up to eventually doing 3 sets of those, okay? So you could take a break, maybe cycle back through another exercise, and then come back to that. So finally, so that's kind of our 20-minute circuit. Now, if you have time in your day to start to link a balance exercise, like maybe before or after you brush your teeth, or whatever household activity that you do every day, we're gonna work on that one leg balance. So you can start off super simple. You actually already, I feel like, have kind of nailed our static gaze standing in a balance. So maybe we progress up to shifting our visual focal point around. So meaning that we'll go ahead, turn the head side to side, which is gonna challenge our balance. And we can just see, kind of building over time, how long we can stay nice and balanced as we change our gaze around. So maybe you do that once a day. That's just an extra 20 seconds of your life, and we'll see how that kind of turns into a little bit more stability on the court. If you have any questions, let me know.